I am Jeffrey Rokoha. This is my Potter's Journal for Fall 2024. Chip and dip plates. Okay, what's the first thing you think of? Chips and salsa. Or, my favorite, okay, potato chips. And maybe a sour cream dip. I actually prefer a yogurt dip. But let's really, for a video, pretend to be healthy. Okay, how about, did you ever think radish slices and hummus? Okay, it works perfect with these big black ones sliced thin, the Spanish. Alright, do you believe this story? Okay, we will make some pots. Let's see what's going on in the studio today. I will start at the beginning by marking the wheel so that the pot will stick and you can get the clay in the center. If it's not perfectly there, a little push forward and back until you've got it, and then people slap it, but that's bad for your wrists if you're a potter, so the slamming it does the job. And somehow it seems to me that when you do the first part of centering, all those little bumps and lumps help in the centering process. But that might just be my own crazy idea. Okay, so we are using 3 pounds of clay. I'm centering this low and wide, so I'm pushing down on the top and being careful to push in and down on the side, so we've got this angle here. We don't want to come with a flap that's going to catch air. I'm also pushing down a bit on this hand with my thumb to get the center there. We're going to open it up in the center. And I never do quite as good a job when talking to the camera, but okay, that's part of making a pot that looks like it was made naturally on a wheel and not by a machine. So opening up the center, and this is a very thin, worn out, first used in the kitchen and then paper thin. First used in this kitchen until it was abused and then brought into the pottery, so you can feel right through it. And we're still way too thick. That since cataract surgery, I have less. I've been changing my glasses about and having them on and off. Less. More trouble judging the thickness of the bottom. But on these, it needs to be a little thick, because when the wire cuts off something relatively big and wide, okay, you sometimes lose more than just a little bit. Okay, so I am opening this up and then bringing this over and out. If there was an unevenness there, I'm bringing it out here so that we've got this center part perfectly centered for where the bowl part is going to be. And then I pretty much just cut down almost the size and shape it's going to be, only leaving a little bit of clay to bring up the wall of that center bowl. This is three pounds of clay. This is size 2. When I do them, I don't just sit down and make a chip and dip plate. I start by making the small 2-pound ones, then this, the 3, 5, and 7. So you work up. If Okay, you're not as accomplished if you're not making a whole production run of these. You might want to start with a candle holder. A few little teeny candle holders. Okay, so I brought that up, and I start to bring this out and determine the thickness of the bottom out here as well before I bring up the center. Got that about right, but the center is done before the outer part of the bowl, so it's not disrupted. And I guess it doesn't mean so much on this, but on the bunk-like pans, the Batista pans, the petitions that I make so many of, you have to do the center. Same if you're making one of those donut or ring vases. Okay, so now we are going to push here in and here in so that, you know, we did a compacting of the bottom of the bowl, and that can be done with a rib too. And then the same out here. And then by pushing in here on the inside and out, we're getting the clay compact in all the right places. Somebody did once say, I heard somebody say, use a relatively soft clay for making plates and low, wide stuff. It doesn't have to support a wall. That could also be a problem, though, with it shrinking and cracking if you don't get it cut off the bat soon enough. So we don't have a big wall to bring up here. And we pretty much formed it early on. And mine are relatively, at this stage, seemingly simple. But where I bring the interest in is in the decorating and the final design. I'm going to do this as a 3-part video. I'm going to show some of the finishing, all of the finishing in the second part, and the decorating. And, you know, it's always different working for the camera. I don't feel like I have enough clay here this time. But, that sometimes turns out to be just not the case. Okay, now, I think I want the bottom to be about here, but I'm bringing this finger in and pushing under just a bit. But I actually do most of this with a rib at the bottom. And so, if we're going to talk about putting the personality into it, I am just pushing under with the rib and down onto it. We're using the rib almost as a mold. And sometimes I'm able to shape it with the thumb underneath. This time it looks and feels a little bit rough. Okay, and then I continue to push in with the rib because my market doesn't allow me to get top dollar out of these things. So I'm making these without trimming them, and the trimming them, for what I can see, adds another element of problems that arise and that you can have with these. So eliminating that, okay, is a big part of the my method. And you know, I think I have a bigger dip part on this bowl, which is why it doesn't seem like the bowl is as big, because these are not my large, these are my mediums. And I will come back maybe in the finishing video and give you a detail of coming under here and trimming that last little bit off down there, so we don't have to trim them. The trimming is a problem because the bowl is not necessarily the same height as the dip part in the center. Or in my case, maybe we should say the plate. These are more chipped plates than bowls. I make them shallow. Can you see under there now? So I'm pushing in with the rib on the outside to get further under there and pushing down on the top into the rib and bringing out the lip. So I am both expanding the size of the chip plate and starting to get the foot. So we're not trimming it off later. Trimming it off later would just make a mess. And we're using all the clay. That there's nothing worse than having to reclaim clay. So much nicer to just use it straight out of the bag. Okay. And cleaning off the bat. It's easier now than later. And, this time with the pointy stick to get that final little bit cut off. And it's not much, but it's just that little bit to get under there and clean it off a little bit further. If you try to take a lot off, you're just going to make a mess. So we're just getting that final little bit and it pushed up the pot on the inside, so we use the rib to bring it down again. And one more time on, cleaning the rim a bit. Maybe you'd like me to edit this out. I clean my bat off at this point. I find it easier than cleaning off a dry crusted bat later on. Okay, and when I cut this in here, it quite often pushes this up in here a little bit, so I come in now with the rib and smooth that down. This one does have a bigger bowl, that some people like them that way. And the decorating will be in the next video. Or maybe the details of it. Or maybe we'll do it in white slip, so that you can see what's happening. Okay, making sure the slip is on thick enough that on the four sizes, I also, each size I get a little more elaborate with the decorating. That this is number 2 in size from small, so on this one, instead of one line around there, I put 2. That helps me when I'm finished too, at the sale, know which one is which to put the price on. And we've got a design that may look like something that would be on a Mexican hat. Okay, in the next video we will do the decorating, kiln opening 2, and find out which way we go, healthy or not. The hint may be in some of my past videos. Okay, stop back and see what's going on in the studio next week.